Have you ever heard of alchemy? It comes from al, which is Arabic for the, and chemia, which is Greek for fusing metals. Pre-scientific people used myths and legends to explain the world around them, like hurricane, oh no, the god or spirit of the ocean must be mad at us. Or volcanic eruption, same story, but with the mountain. Or in the case of the Romans, the god Vulcan must be telling us to go to war because he's making weapons up there. The early people also loved stuff as much as we do, but their stuff was made out of plant parts, animal parts, and rocks. So when metals came along, dude, they were the jam. They were harder, they were stronger, they were shinier, and people went crazy for them. Metals just aren't typically found lying around in their pure native form on Earth. Occasionally you'll find a nugget of gold or a nugget of silver somewhere, but they're typically found trapped in rocks called ores. The real focus of alchemy was gold, because while gold is rare, it's found in its native pure form more often than the other metals. They thought it was the perfect balance of the ancient elements, fire, air, water, and earth, which are not the real elements. They're not, but that's what they thought. They also believed that all of the other metals were just imperfect because they were immature, and they could be fixed and made to mature because they were physically and spiritually alive. So they thought that if you could just make something like lead more mature, it would become gold. How do you mature a metal? Well, the 4 elements, of course. So mercury was too wet and sulfur was yellow but too dry. So if you mix them together, you would get gold, of course, right? No, not at all, because that's not how any of this works, but this is what they thought. The key missing ingredient in their minds was the Philosopher's Stone, which could heal, prolong life, and mature metals into gold. Each alchemist had their own recipe. They were almost always liquids, which is weird they called it a stone, and they were super heavily guarded secrets. The alchemists wrote in symbolic code and kept journals that included their code for things like air, water, and earth. Substances, which they figured out how to make and find, like salt and sulfur and mercury. They also likened a lot of the elements to planets, like Mars was red, and so iron had the same symbol as Mars. Venus had the same symbol as copper. We have the sun had the same symbol as gold because it glowed and was shiny, right? And then the moon had the same symbol as silver because it was that lighter, shinier color. Some of these alchemists, this was like a religious place, but many use their practices to actually make things to sell to sort of offset their costs, like perfumes, medicines, cosmetics, and pigments that we still use today. There's no evidence anybody ever found the Philosopher's Stone, but they did lay the groundwork for the chemistry that we actually study today. Some lab techniques like distillation, where you take a liquid and you add heat to it, you basically boil off the liquid particles and you're left with whatever substances were in the liquid, and then the separated liquid itself are super useful to us. They've also invented tools like flasks and funnels. Alchemists also discovered actual elements like antimony, arsenic, and zinc. The story of phosphorus is hilarious. There was an alchemist that thought that urine was yellow, obviously because it contained gold, right? And so he distilled or boiled that off into a paste, and then he lit the paste on fire, and it burned super, super bright with this really intense smell. We use phosphorus today on the coating of matches because it does burn so well, and so when you smell a match, that's phosphorus. So why did they fail at their mission to turn things into gold? Well, we now know that gold is an actual element, and what it means to be an element is that it's made of all the same atom, and so pure gold is made of gold atoms, and you can't turn one kind of atom into another kind of atom. Gold is gold. Aluminum is an element. You can't turn gold into aluminum or aluminum into gold or any of the other elements. This is also true of phosphorus, copper, and every single thing that's listed on the periodic table. They're their own kind of atom, and they can't be changed into any other kind of atom. What we and nature can do, though, is take the atoms of these elements and attach them in different combinations to create all of the really cool substances that make the Earth and the universe so interesting to live in, like rocks and plastics. And that, my friends, is chemistry.